Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again. And this time we're going to look at a game called Tank Force. This was created by Namco in 1991, but also this is Flashback episode number 9. So let's look back at the year 1991 via the Crazy Climber 80 DeLorean, and we'll start with news events. Salvadorian rebels shoot down a U.S. Army chopper and execute the survivors in El Salvador. Georgian troops attack Skinvali, South Ossetia, and start a 2-year war. U.S. Congress passes a resolution authorizing military forces to expel Iraq military from Kuwait. The deadline for Iraq withdrawal passes, so Operation Desert Storm begins. Serial killer Eileen Wuornos confesses to the killing of 6 men. She was portrayed by Charlize Theron in Monster. King Olaf V of Norway dies. His son Harald V succeeds him. Eastern Airlines shuts down. Iraq Scuds strike Israel. U.S. launches airstrikes against Iraqi forces. A 6.4 earthquake hits northeast Afghanistan. 848 die. Dr. Jack Kevorkian is banned from assisting in suicides. Hundreds of Iraqis are killed by U.S. bombing in Baghdad. Iraq officials claim it was just a bomb shelter, not a military facility. Iraq accepts the Soviet ceasefire proposal, and the U.S. rejects it. Scud missile hits the U.S. barracks in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, killing 29. Saddam Hussein announces the Iraqi withdrawal from Kuwait, but they burn oil fields as they retreat. Taxi driver Rodney King is beaten by 4 white LA policemen. United Airlines Flight 585 crashes in Colorado Springs and all 25 are killed. U.S. troops begin leaving the Persian Gulf. Iraq agrees to terms of the UN's disarmament demands. Tropical cyclone hits Bangladesh, killing around 138,000. Wow. A 7.0 earthquake hits Georgia, killing 270. Suicide bomber in Sriperumbudur, India, kills many people, including former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Lauda Air Boeing 767 crashes near Bangkok, killing all 223. Boris Yeltsin is elected President of Russia. Sri Lankan army soldiers kill 152 civilians. Mount Pinatubo erupts in the Philippines, killing over 800. Wow. Croatia and Slovenia declare independence from Yugoslavia. Apartheid ends in South Africa. Nigerian Airways Flight 2120 crashes in Saudi Arabia, killing all 261. Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is arrested for cannibalism and murder in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Several countries declare independence from the Soviet Union. The UN Security Council demands that Iraq accepts inspectors unconditionally, and Iraq calls the resolution unlawful. Supreme Court candidate Clarence Thomas, his former aide Anita Hill, claims sexual harassment against him. A firestorm in Oakland kills 25 and destroys thousands of homes. Former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke runs for governor of Louisiana and loses to Edwin Edwards. Cambodia-Vietnam War ends, with the Khmer Rouge being absorbed into the government. The perfect storm hits northeast U.S. and eastern Canada, causing over 200 million in damage. The Egyptian ferry Salem Express sinks into the Red Sea, killing 450. the Yugoslav People's Army and Serb paramilitaries take Vukovar, Croatia, and kill over 260 Croatian POWs. The KGB is disbanded after a failed coup d'etat intending to depose Mikhail Gorbachev. Street Fighter II debuts, as does the very first Fatal Fury game. And Sonic the Hedgehog debuts for the Sega Genesis, the first game, and the Super Nintendo, or SNES, is released. Eric Clapton, his son Connor, falls to his death 49 stories in a New York high-rise condo. Magic Johnson, basketball legend, announces he has HIV. A Halloween blizzard strikes upper Midwest U.S., causing around 100 million damage. And China-Vietnam relations are restored. Now let's look at celebrity deaths. Luke Appling, Steve Clark of Def Leppard, Key Luke, Red Grange, Nancy Culp, Beverly Hillbillies, Dean Jagger, Danny Thomas, John Daly, game show host, George Gobel of Hollywood Squares, Aldo Ray, Kevin Peter Hall, David Lean, Steve Marriott, Don Siegel, Wilfred Hyde White, David Ruffin, Stan Getz, Jean Arthur, Peggy Ashcroft, Michael Landon, Lee Remick, James Franciscus, Bert Convey, great game show host, Paul Brown, Colleen Dewhurst, Frank Capra, Dottie West, Brad Davis of Midnight Express, Joe Pasternak, Ted Geisel, Dr. Seuss, Nazi war criminal Klaus Barbie, Miles Davis, Red Fox, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek creator, Bill Graham, promoter, Irwin Allen, Fred McMurray, Gene Tierney, a gal named Gene, Klaus Kinski, Eric Carr of Kiss, Freddie Mercury of Queen, died of AIDS, Ralph Bellamy, and Robert Q. Lewis, game show host. Well, now let's look at TV shows of 1991. Blossom, Pirates of Darkwater, Clarissa Explains It All, Studs, Dinosaurs, Sisters, Doug, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Tasmania, Eon Flux, Herman's Head, Darkwing Duck, Maury Povich, Erie, Indiana, Jenny Jones, Montel Williams, Home Improvement, Brooklyn Bridge, Step by Step, The Commish, Jerry Springer, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and All Fly Away. Now let's look at movies of 1991. Terminator 2, Beauty and the Beast, nominated for an Academy Award. Silence of the Lambs, 1 Academy Awards. JFK, Addams Family, City Slickers, Hot Shots, very silly, Cape Fear, Prince of Tides, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Fisher King, Thelma and Louise, great movie, Not Without My Daughter, LA Story, Sleeping with the Enemy, The Doors, Toy Soldiers, What About Bob, Backdraft, Jungle Fever, The Rocketeer, Naked Gun 2.5, Boys in the Hood, Point Break, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Pure Luck, that was pretty funny, Barton Fink, Dead Again, My Own Private Idaho, Star Trek VI, Hook, Bugsy, Father of the Bride, and Fried Green Tomatoes. Now let's look at some number one songs, the number one songs of 1991. Justify My Love, Love Will Never Do Without You, The First Time, Gonna Make You Sweat, All the Man That I Need, Someday, One More Try, Coming Out of the Dark, I've Been Thinking About You, You're in Love, Baby Baby, Joyride, I Like the Way of the Kissing Game, I Don't Want to Cry, More Than Words, Rush Rush, Unbelievable, Everything I Do It for You, Promise of a New Day, I Adore Me Amore, Good Vibrations, not the Beach Boys song, Emotions, Romantic, Cream, When a Man Loves a Woman, Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, and Black or White. And other big hits of 1991, I Want to Sex You Up, Right Here, Right Now, Every Heartbeat, Losing My Religion, Wind of Change, Things That Make You Go, I Touch Myself, Tom's Diner, Something to Talk About, Show Me the Way, Wicked Game, Rico Suave, and Shiny Happy People. Now let's look at sports of 1991. Starting with the Super Bowl 25. My Buffalo Bills fall short against the New York Giants with a missed field goal, 20-19. Really stings. The NBA Finals. Michael Jordan and the Bulls win their first championship. They beat the LA Lakers 4-1. They would win a total of 6 in the 90s. Wow, they were good. The Minnesota Twins win the World Series. There's Kirby Puckett. They'd win it 4-3 over Atlanta. Stanley Cup. Pittsburgh Penguins win their first Stanley Cup. They'd win the next one the next year, 4-2 over the Minnesota North Stars, now Dallas. NCAA basketball. Duke wins the championship 72-65 over Kansas. NCAA football. Colorado wins the national championship 10-9 over Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Boxing. Mike Tyson defeats Razor Ruddock twice. The first time very controversially, and the second time there was no doubt about it. Evander Holyfield beats 42-year-old George Foreman to retain the heavyweight title. Golf. Masters champ is Ian Woosnam. U.S. Open champ is Payne Stewart. British Open champ, Ian Baker Finch. PGA champ, John Daly. Well, that was a look at 1991. And now we will look at Tank Force. Now, Tank Force is the third game in a series, the final game in a series. The first game was Tank Battalion back in 1980, and then Battle City in like 1985, I think, and then Tank Force in 1991. And they're all tank fixed screen tank maze games, in which you're trying to not only kill all the enemy tanks, but protect your base. If your base is destroyed, your game is over. If you lose all your lives, your game is over. And there are various terrain that, or blocks and stuff that you can shoot through. Some of them you can't until you get a power-up. And you get power-ups by destroying the tanks. And you have to go and collect them. We'll go ahead and get started. There are a total of 36 rounds. And player 1 is the red tank, player 2 is the blue tank. Some of the cabinets were 4-player version. You could have 4 people play at once. This one was 2. You cannot currently shoot through the white blocks. You will need a power-up. And some of the power-ups are just points. Actually, most of them are just points. There are some that are very rare that are very nice. And there is a shield. There. There is a power-up that will allow you to get stronger shots. Like this. Your shield does not last all that long. Yeah, the enemy shoots you once, you lose a tank. You can touch the enemy tanks without dying. But you can't get shot or you lose a life. That last guy is moving real quick. You don't have a timer, so don't worry about having to hurry up. But you can see the list of the enemy tanks remaining on the top right of the screen. It's kind of interesting in this game. Well, there is the first stage beat, or first round. At the bottom of the screen, it does not show your score, your total score. It just shows your score that you've accumulated from this round. But then after the round is over, then it adds it to your previous total. Yeah, you have to learn where is the safe, relatively safe spot, so that you won't get shot at. There will be bodies of water sometimes. Don't shoot that wall there. There will be bodies of water. This, I love this. You collect that symbol, and a plane will bomb all the enemies for you. I mean, more of them will come as long as there's still at least one tank symbol in the top right showing that there's some enemies left. Woo, let me get my points. But you cannot cross over the bodies of water. You can shoot across it, of course, and so can the enemies. But yeah, there's a total of 36 rounds in this game. And you get an ending once you get to the last one. Some other bonus items or power-ups you can collect are like a 4-way shot. Your tank can shrink into a smaller tank that moves much faster. You can get double shot. You can get a stronger shot. You can get a wave cannon that doesn't blast blocks at all, but it goes right over them. It can go right over anything, which is very helpful. And I guess there is a rare extra life one, and one that can freeze the enemies, and it's a little clock symbol, and it only lasts for a short time. Woo. Gotta get the hell out of the way of their shots. If a shot even grazes you, you're dead. I had not seen this in arcades. I had not seen any of the Tank Battalion, Battle City, Tank Force games in the arcades. this game in the series, I think it introduces bosses that were not in the other games. I have reviewed all the games in this series, all 3, and I'm pretty sure there was not any more. I think it was just these 3 that were in the series. You must kill those boss characters as well as all these smaller tanks. And the boss characters can shoot through the barrier to your base. So don't forget that. I think I did later on in this video when my game ended. I was probably on my last life anyway. Unlike maybe both of the other games in this series, it seems like you cannot shoot your own through your own base. I remember you definitely could do that in Tank Battalion. I can't remember for sure if you could do it in Battle City, but I think you could. Battle City, I think the only arcade version that appeared in arcades was the Versus version, you know, the Nintendo Versus cabinet. From where my game ended, I will show you at least little clips of the remaining levels, all of them. I hope you enjoyed my 1991 flashback. There was a point, at least one point, where I was kind of slow in reading the events off. I write them down on a notepad and read them as they pop up on the, you know, the clips pop up on the screen. There's my mini tank. And that was because sometimes I can't read my own writing and I have to pause and try to figure out what it is. There is a unique enemy. It is a giant tank. There will be some newer enemies coming here and there, but it is unique to that level, and then you see it a little bit more later on in the game. There will also be like a moving missile launcher. But yeah, you can shoot through those white blocks once you get the power-up that gives you stronger shots. Yeah, the shield and the 4-way and some of the other power-ups don't last that long. There will be a boss character every 4th level. And since the game has 36 rounds, there will be a boss fight on the last level. But yeah, you can play 2 players simultaneous play on this game, and on some of the cabinets, whoa, gotta protect that, yikes. That is cool that they give you a warning if there is a wall about to be destroyed, giving the enemy access to your base. There will be some enemies that require multiple shots. Yeah, there is another enemy that fires missiles at you, and we'll see that later on. And some of the enemies take multiple hits to bring down. Doing pretty decent. I got a little practice before I started this video. This game's okay. I do like that they had boss characters every 4th round, and they recycle those boss characters a number of times. But I kind of feel like it's a little too much like Battle City. I mean, the graphics are better, but I would have liked Oops, crap. Something I would have really liked would have been... Oh shit, that was clumsy. Whoa, I've got to protect that side of the fortress, or base. I would have liked if they would have maybe made the enemy explosions when you kill them be much wider. And now we're seeing these jeeps that leave dynamite, and the dynamite can explode and hit you. The dynamite can't hurt the other tanks or the other vehicles, and I think it should. That would be kind of cool. I would like for there to be an explosion that can take out multiple enemies if they're within the blast radius. You know, like Namco's Grobda. If you haven't heard of that one, it's on one of the Namco museum games. It's a Japan-only release, I think. And here is the clock I picked up, which stops time for a very short time. Gives me time to wound one of the cannons on this boss. But these white blocks will protect you from the fire from this tank thing. But again, you have to destroy all the regular enemies plus the boss. And there's the four-way shot. And I totally forgot that the boss can shoot through the fortress. I was not paying attention. I was just trying to take out as many jeeps or remaining enemy vehicles as I could. Oops. That is my game. Shows how many rounds you'd beaten and your score. And it says, SOS, our force finally received a crushing blow. Send us a reinforcement as soon as possible and bring us a victory again. Yeah, not this time. But I will show you snippets of the remaining rounds. We'll pick up where we left off here on round 8. I put on invincibility here. You cannot shoot the foliage, the growth there, but you can drive right through it. And here's my four-way shot. I think I put on the cheat that gives you infinite or unbreakable walls for your base or fort. And this game's all right. Like I said, I would have liked it a little better if you could make the enemy explosion, and there my walls are fixed by a cheat. If you could make the enemy explosions take out other enemies. Although there is like a gas tower or something, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it can explode and take out other enemies in its radius. Yeah, all those explosions are the dynamite those jeeps are leaving. And yeah, we'll just see snippets of the remaining rounds, and there's a total of 36 of them. It's round 9. and we'll see the cannon or missile launcher type of enemy eventually. The bonus points that you can collect are like it's like 200, maybe 300, 500, 1,000, 2,000, and a maximum of 3,000. And yeah, here are those giant tanks. Those take about like 6 hits, and they have these big old blasts. Here are the gas canisters, or I'm not sure what these are, but isn't that sweet? You, of course, can be caught within that explosion and die. And then here's round 12's boss. Yeah, you see repeats of the bosses. Here's a little bit of round 13. Nothing terribly special. And round 14. And round 15 with lots of foliage. Round 16, here's another boss. And I like this, there's Pac-Man. And you can shoot through him and reveal Pac-Man from, you know, with Pac-Man eyes, the Japanese version of Pac-Man. And the long Pinocchio nose. Welcome! And there's more bodies of water that you can't cross, that you and the enemy can shoot across. And we have these new giant tanks. Take a lot of hits. And here's the round 20 boss. And round 21. But yeah, with the power-ups you can shoot through the white blocks with the shot upgrade power-ups. And there's those roving missile launchers. Now we got a lot of foliage on round 22, and here's round 23. A lot of those dynamite dropping jeeps. Here's the boss on round 24. I've got invincibility on. And more of these gas things that you can destroy on round 25. Here's round 26. Those tanks fire a lot of missiles. Here's round 27. Round 28's boss. Yeah, this game's alright. And I love this level. Round 29. You can shoot through the blocks and reveal certain things. There's Pac-Man and ghosts. The word Namco. And there's Pukas from Dig Dug. But yeah, some of the blocks you shoot through will reveal certain things. And there's Blinky, the red ghost. And Inky, the blue ghost. Inky again. And Blinky again. And then there's Pac-Man, you can see part of him. There's round 30. More of those roving missile launchers. A lot of foliage on round 31. There's the round 32 boss. Destroy him. And I like this. The tanks can come down off of the ships. round 33. Kind of cool. You know, when they respawn. And now here's round 34. A lot of open space here. And there's that beam that can shoot over blocks. Here's round 35. More wide open space. And here is the final boss, round 36. And these roving cannons bump into each other and then bounce the other way. This reminds me of Contra, one of the bosses. And now let's zip forward to the end of Tank Force. And again, this is the third game in the series. It was Tank Battalion, Battle City, and then Tank Force. It was the last round, round 36. And here is the ending. Congratulations, all round clear. Well, I thank you for watching my tribute to the year 1991. Feel free to post your memories of 1991 in the comments. Anything I neglected to mention, go ahead and speak your mind. I was just about to move down, back down to the Portland, Oregon area. I was living in Auburn, Washington for a short time, very close to a Federal Way. I graduated up there, graduated high school, moved back down to the Portland area, and I currently live in Beaverton, which is just west of Portland. Thanks for watching Tank Force and my tribute to the year 1991. I was very bummed because my Portland Trailblazers looked like they were going to win it all, and they somehow lost in, was it the semifinals to the Los Angeles Lakers. Very disappointing. They won 63 games that year. Not much to show for it. But, yeah, and my Buffalo Bills came up just short. Just 1 point short. Lost 20-19 on a missed field goal by Scott Norwood. Then they proceeded to lose 3 more Super Bowls in a row, and they haven't won one. Well, they got an interesting draft, so we'll see what happens. Well, that was Tank Force by Namco in 1991. I thank you for watching, and I thank you for watching my 1991 tribute. Well, this is Crazy Clown Radius, and thanks for watching my 1991 tribute and Tank Force by Namco, the third game in the series. Well, I hope you had a decent weekend, and I will catch you later with Flashback episode number 10. Bye-bye, folks.